105,000 Dutch fans are making a tremendous amount of noise ahead of round 15 of the Formula One World Championship in 2022. It is the Dutch Grand Prix, and for the first time the home fans come to their home circuit to greet their home world champion. It's lights out and away we go. Verstappen away well, as is Leclerc, as is Sainz, and Hamilton covers there Sergio Perez into turn one. Verstappen leads, and on the inside there's contact between Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton has kept that fourth place. Looked a little bit dodgy for him for a while. Good start from Lando Norris, and he's got ahead of George Russell and almost getting tagged by Lance Stroll on the inside. Stroll might have an advantage over the Mercedes, but Russell is quick on the power. But that's a dream start for Max Verstappen. And when the lights went out, it was an, I think, equal getaway from both the Red Bull and the Ferrari. Hamilton has to cover Sergio Perez.
He actually got a poor start there, didn't he, Lewis? And here he is on the inside. He's like, oh, I'll have a go at Carlos. Little bit of oversteer there. We've heard that he did actually touch the Ferrari. He didn't get a good start. He had to cover off his teammate. He had to cover off Checo also. Here he is on the inside. Oh, they did just touch. It doesn't look like there's anything severe, but that was so lucky.
There goes Fernando Alonso on Pierre Gasly. Sparks flying from underneath the AlphaTauri. Alonso just not alongside enough to make the move into Tarzan corner. That first corner, but Kevin Magnussen's under pressure there from the Williams of Alex Albon, and going wide. Kevin Magnussen into the gravel and hits the barrier, comes back out onto the track, but manages to keep that Haas going. Let's have another little look. Just could not hold that Haas on the track.
It was a little bit harder than I thought, but it looks like it's running true.
Here we go with Fernando. Which way does he go, left or right? He almost went straight down the middle, but he did manage to avoid Pierre Gasly, and he makes that move into Tarzan corner and up into 12th, and Gasly instantly under pressure from Zhou Guanyu right behind him in the Alfa Romeo.
Felt a little bit late for Pierre, didn't it?
Yeah.
The moving to the middle of the track, but got the move done anyway.
Yeah, no harm done. Fernando Alonso gets a round of applause for that. Kevin Magnussen fancies getting quite close. Can he hang on to the track? Not enough to get close, get ahead and stay ahead. Magnussen dueling with Latifi down at turn one.
Some soft runners showing high deg.
Fernando Alonso, for the second lap running, does not want to stay behind an AlphaTauri and has decided that Yuki Tsunoda can be dispatched into turn one, and that's exactly what happened. Alonso's up to 11th. Right, let's have a look here. Lap 15 of this Dutch Grand Prix, and Hamilton on his own down the straight because Carlos Sainz is coming in for Ferrari. It's the shortest pit lane, I think, of the season. Can they get to work nice and speedily down at Ferrari? That seems to be held for quite some time, and they had to hold it because Sergio Perez was in his box. They couldn't release Carlos Sainz because Perez was there and they were still looking for the tyre. Perez actually went over, I think, one of the cables for the wheel guns, and that is a disaster for Carlos Sainz. 12.7 seconds stationary. He was running third. He is going to come out into this race down in 11th, but that is going to cost him in terms of a podium place this afternoon. It's another problem on race day for Ferrari. Let's just have a little look here. There's Carlos Sainz. Well, they were ready not at the rear left. Perez did go over the wheel gun. This is Mick Schumacher with Sebastian Vettel. Two mates getting nice and close in a friendly fashion going through the chicane. Well, Seb is trying to hold this one as long as he possibly can, and that was a very nice piece of driving by both drivers. Max Verstappen comes into the pits, and you approach it, with DRS and really have to slam the brakes on. Medium tyres going on to Verstappen's Red Bull, and he's back out in not the fastest time that you'll ever see a Red Bull pit stop. Hamilton takes over the lead of the race. George Russell follows him on in second. This is not a surprise, the two Mercedes leading this race, because those on the soft tyres were always going to stop earlier.
The interesting thing is now, can he go to the end of the race on that medium set of tyres? That's a lot of laps, 53 laps.
So this is looking good. Lewis 16.7, Verstappen 16.0.
I think it's looking very good because Lewis Hamilton's got a buffer between himself and Max Verstappen. Mercedes are running 1 and 2, and Verstappen isn't going fast enough at the moment to make the overtake down the main straight, which seems to be the only place really you can get past. Max Verstappen's probably got the overtaking button pressed firmly and fully and deployed it, and Russell goes to the inside, and Russell tries to hang on, but he can't quite do it, and that was necessary for Max Verstappen, and it delighted the fans who are all stood up in the grandstands wherever they're watching this race. Verstappen up to second. Lewis Hamilton was leading, and now with Max Verstappen charging after him, it's time to pit Lewis Hamilton. And well, Mercedes fans throughout the world, Jensen Button, will be hoping you're right here, that it is a good time to put the hard compound tyre on and he can go to the end of the race.
Yeah, he can definitely go to the end of the race. It's just how quickly that tyre works for him. Does Max pit now? He's only 11 laps into his stint, but does he pit?
Just keep an eye on the hard tyre, but I don't think it will be good. Already feeling this tyre.
Yep, understood.
Well, that's contrary to what a lot of others are thinking, and Joe Granu, well, wanted to get past Pierre Gasly there. Did Gasly move at the wrong place again?
No, I just think he moved very late again.
And Hamilton is right on Perez's tail, and he's got that DRS, 16.5 kilometres extra speed down that main straight. Hamilton has to go the long way round. Perez locks up. Perez forces Hamilton even wider and then loses speed in doing so. And what kind of animal was that, Sergio Perez? That was scrappy, wasn't it? See, once he realised he was in trouble, yeah, go a little bit wider. Still gave him a car's width. The pace of that Mercedes is keeping tabs on the Red Bull, and even on the next DRS zone, he's almost alongside Perez, getting into that chicane. The crowd willing Sergio Perez on here, because everything Perez is doing can maybe help Max Verstappen at the end of this race. Sebastian Vettel makes his second pit stop of this race, and we go back to the main straight once again, and the main action. It's the main event, isn't it? Sergio Perez currently in third. Lewis Hamilton maybe targeting a win today, needs to get past the Red Bull. This time he's clear. Perez doesn't lock up. Hamilton moves up into the top three.
Beautiful move around the outside, nicely judged on the brakes there. Oh, and he's straight out into traffic.
I mentioned Vettel had pitted. He came out of the pit stop right where Hamilton didn't want him. Hamilton just about hangs on to third place. Perez there just for one moment thought, I've got half a chance here, because Sebastian Vettel arrived on the scene when no one was really expecting, and at pretty much the wrong time for the Mercedes. So much dust and marbles on the track before Vettel eventually does make way for the two cars. Did he hang around there a little bit longer than he should have done?
He's on the marbles on the inside, and that's another thing, so they've got a lot less grip on that on the inside line. Lovely move for Lewis around the outside, perfect. And now he's got to get after Charles Leclerc. I don't know how much time he lost there, but I'm guessing he's lost 3 seconds probably in the last 2 laps. It's a tricky one. He's come out of the pits. You're not really sure where you are at that moment in time, what race you're in, unless your engineer is telling you.
Max, what are your thoughts on tyre compounds?
This doesn't really feel spectacular.
Understood.
So please don't give me a medium, even though I've got another set. You could give me a hard tyre if you want. I've got a new set of those, or you can give me a used soft, but probably the hard tyre. Verstappen continues to lead, and he's just moved in to the top 10 all-time lap leaders in Formula One. He's passed Niki Lauda today. By the side of the track, Yuki Tsunoda stops.
Tyre is not fitted, tyre is not fitted.
Copy, slow down.
Is that a safety car?
That's got to be a safety car, surely. That car is going to need pushing away. He's stopped the car. He says the tyres aren't fitted. The debrief has started on the AlphaTauri pit wall as to exactly what happened during the pit stop.
Tyres are okay. Start again. Tyres are okay.
And the tyres are fitted as far as the team are concerned, so Tsunoda is allowed to rejoin this race. So for one moment there was a potential safety car which would have seen Verstappen and Leclerc coming straight in because you lose less time under a safety car. But Tsunoda is on the racetrack, still going very, very slowly. Let's have a look here. Watch the front left as it goes out. Does that look a little bit wobbly? That was the tyre that might be a little loose in Tsunoda's mind. Hard tyres fitted to the end of the race for Charles Leclerc. Verstappen's just done a 1:17.2. Hamilton's just done a 1:15.7 as there goes Mick Schumacher on the Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel.
Something wrong, something strange in the rear, something strange. Deep is broken, I think.
Stop, stop.
Right, so there wasn't a safety car. There might be a safety car unless Yuki Tsunoda can put this AlphaTauri somewhere safe and off the track. Coming out of turn 3, he's keeping off the racing line. as through went Sergio Perez, but he's going to park up by the side of the track here. Doesn't look like he's parked up right by an escape hatch. So VSC, race gets neutralised, make a pit stop here, and it's about 10 seconds faster in terms of your race time than under a normal condition. Verstappen might just hang on to the lead here by making a pit stop behind the virtual safety car.
Looks like one of the Mercedes is coming in as well.
So into the pit lane comes Lewis Hamilton. Ted Kravitz, down to you.
Yeah, so there's enough of a gap for them to do it, but there you see George Russell, so they are going to stack. That was good for Mercedes because they had the position as first people in the pit lane to be able to stack their cars, and that was nice work. But what an advantage this is handed to Max Verstappen. So I thought we were going to see chaos in the pits with everybody coming in. We're going to have the second McLaren in as well. Let's see how this shakes out. Advantage Verstappen.
I think what's happened here, Jensen, is Mercedes knew Verstappen would pit and be ahead, so they thought we should pit as well and at least be on fresher tyres.
Let's go, guys. It's a good pit stop, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, and also they've gone for the medium tyre. Great thinking by Mercedes. They're making the best out of a situation they didn't expect.
This means quite a lot as well in the battle for fourth in the championship coming into this race. There was a 20-point gap in that battle for fourth. Fernando Alonso would like to help extend that advantage and get past Lando Norris, but nothing doing on that occasion, but he's going to hang it out as much as he can. And Norris gave him width, and Fernando eventually had to back off before he hit the gravel. Oh, we got another car stopping, Bottas. And it's Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo, and I think this is down the main straight where Valtteri Bottas has stopped. It's right before the first corner. This could be another safety car. Yellow flags are now waving. Sainz, wow, made the move on Esteban Ocon, but I'm not sure he got ahead before he got to the incident. Really should have backed off, but stayed ahead of Esteban Ocon.
Believe to let him by, let Ocon by, is Lando right behind him. Come on.
Well, at least the only overtaking place is gone now, so...
Yeah, well, that for the moment, Bottas is still down there. Ocon's ahead of Norris, ahead of Alonso. Sainz is ahead of all three of them. If he slows down Carlos Sainz to let Esteban Ocon go past...
Why is he stopping? What's he doing?
They're all slowing down because it's double waved yellows down there.
But that was
safety car, that's why they're slowing down, Jensen. Soft tyres going on Max Verstappen's Red Bull. Will Mercedes decide to pit Lewis Hamilton as well, or do they stay out with Lewis Hamilton? Ted, are you calling the strategy for us here, Ted?
My mic was live. I was just talking to myself.
Hamilton is going to take the lead of this race after Red Bull pitted Max Verstappen, and George Russell might just get ahead of Max Verstappen here too. So Mercedes are back 1-2 in the lead. George Russell is going to put soft tyres on.
I'm so confused. Why would you do that as Mercedes?
And away we go then. We're going green, and Verstappen has got a decent toe behind Hamilton, and Verstappen is going wheel to wheel down the main straight with Hamilton, and Verstappen is ahead going into turn one. Lewis Hamilton's been overtaken by Max Verstappen right at the start. George Russell holding off Charles Leclerc in third place. That warm-up for Mercedes costing Hamilton at that moment. Then comes Carlos Sainz ahead of Sergio Perez. Behind Perez, Alonso, Norris, Ocon and Stroll. It's Verstappen once again that leads the Dutch Grand Prix.
Look at that toe he got through that corner, and Lewis just opened the gap and he threw it down the outside.
You're not allowed to overtake until you get to the line, and Verstappen was about, what, half a metre behind Hamilton when they got to the line. Hamilton struggling for pace out there, and his teammate 20 metres behind him, and his teammate is not going to be 20 metres behind for long. And oh dear, George Russell nearly ran straight into the back of his teammate before he manages to react at the very last moment. That wasn't team orders, that was scrappy and it was defensive, and Lewis Hamilton gave it as best he could. Russell was in grave danger of totally ruining Mercedes' afternoon there, with two cars retiring from the race. Somehow he managed to react in time. George Russell's last lap was 0.2 of a second slower than Max Verstappen's. Lewis Hamilton's last lap was 0.9 of a second slower than Charles Leclerc, and Charles Leclerc is now past Lewis Hamilton. And Hamilton, who at one stage looked like he was going to get his first win in 2022, is not even going to get on the podium here at Zandvoort this afternoon.
Max now pulls 4 seconds on Russell. Leclerc is actually closing on Russell slightly. Hamilton will secure P4. Is this someone off? Who's that? Perez?
Yeah, he carried on. He got onto the gravel, but he's carried on. He's lost a lot of time behind Carlos Sainz. He's now got Fernando Alonso right up behind him.
Tried to go around the outside. It's pretty late, to be fair. He's got halfway alongside. It's a pretty late move in the corner. It's sort of apex to exit move, isn't it? Which we don't often see in an F1 car.
Cloud of dust.
He pushed me off. Yeah, copy.
Here at Zandvoort, Max Verstappen wins the Dutch Grand Prix. The fireworks go off as George Russell comes home ahead of Lewis Hamilton to take second place, with Charles Leclerc on the podium for Ferrari. Between the two Mercedes drivers, Hamilton finishes fourth ahead of Carlos Sainz, who's got a 5-second time penalty. He might have finished fifth on the road, Carlos Sainz, but he comes home to finish in 8th place once the timing screens have deducted that 5 seconds. Alonso 6th, Norris 7th, Ocon and Stroll occupy the final points places. Max Verstappen climbs to the top of his Red Bull. That is now 10 wins this season for Max Verstappen, to match the 10 wins that he got in 2021.
Yeah, we had to push the whole race. We, of course, with safety car, virtual safety car, making the right calls. Always a bit of a question mark, but it worked out really well. Once we got back to the soft tires, we had great pace again.
Max Verstappen stands on top of the world, on top of the podium, and certainly very much on top here in Zandvoort. What a weekend it's been for him and for Red Bull.